Seoul, South Korea, October 1996. The Olympic Stadium vibrated with the collective energy of 70,000 souls, their screams forming a physical wall of sound that seemed to compress the very air. The History World Tour had brought Michael Jackson to Asia, where his popularity transcended ordinary celebrity to approach something closer to religious devotion. Massive video screens flanked the elaborate stage, projecting his silhouette to fans in the furthest seats as he performed Earth Song, the environmentally conscious anthem that had become centerpiece of his live shows. The production reached its emotional peak as Michael, arms outstretched in characteristic pose symbolizing both surrender and embrace, stood at the edge of the stage while artificial rain began falling from the sophisticated rigging above, the water catching stage lights to create shimmering curtain around his solitary figure. Security personnel maintained their practiced vigilance despite the apparent impossibility of audience members breaching the substantial barriers separating them from the stage. Multiple layers of protection had been implemented, barricades, security officers positioned at regular intervals, the physical distance of elevated stage, all standard protocol for protecting performer whose global fame had long since transcended ordinary celebrity to create something approaching living mythology. The security team had handled hundreds of performances without significant incident, their professionalism matching the meticulous standards that characterized every aspect of Michael's productions. If this story of unexpected human connection moves you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful moments that reveal the genuine humanity behind the global icon. It happened during the song's emotional bridge, as Michael moved from controlled vocals to more improvisational expression, his voice carrying raw emotional intensity that represented stylistic evolution from his earlier, more technically precise approach. From the left side of the stadium, a figure suddenly appeared in motion, a young man approximately 20 years old, moving with extraordinary speed through gap in security that had opened momentarily during shift change. Before guards could react, before nearby fans could process what was happening, he had covered the substantial distance to the stage and was climbing the metal framework with unexpected agility, determination overcoming the physical barriers designed specifically to prevent such access. The audience reaction was immediate and physical, gasps rippling outward from those closest to the breach, screams shifting from excitement to alarm as recognition spread that established boundary between performer and audience had been violated. Security personnel moved with practiced efficiency toward the disruption, their expressions revealing professional concern rather than panic. This scenario represented exactly the situation they had been trained to handle, though its occurrence during the emotional climax of the show's most powerful number created particularly difficult timing. On stage, Michael remained initially unaware of the approaching figure, his focus directed inward during performance's most demanding emotional sequence. It was only as the young man cleared the final barrier, as he landed on the stage's surface with impact audible through nearby microphones, that Michael turned, the movement appearing choreographed despite being entirely spontaneous, his performance instincts transforming potential disruption into seemingly planned transition. For perhaps 2 seconds, performer and intruder stood facing each other in tableau that photographer would later describe as containing entire universe of human connection in single frozen moment. Michael's expression shifting from performance intensity to genuine human surprise, the young man's face revealing complex mixture of adoration, determination, and sudden realization of boundaries crossed. Security personnel had nearly reached the stage, their movements accelerating as potential threat to their client became imminent rather than theoretical. The audience collectively held its breath, 70,000 people simultaneously witnessing unplanned disruption to meticulously choreographed spectacle. The particular tension that accompanies moments when controlled theatrical experience yields to unpredictable human reality. The young man stood motionless for those 2 seconds, his apparent mission accomplished simply by achieving proximity to figure whose music had clearly touched something profound in his experience. What happened next defied every expected protocol, every standard security procedure, every conventional response to potential threat approaching world's most famous entertainer during height of performance. Michael raised his hand, single, subtle gesture that somehow carried sufficient authority to halt security teams' advance despite their training and professional responsibility. The gesture contained no panic, no fear, but rather surprising calm that suggested recognition of something beneath the surface disruption, some human element transcending standard security categorization of threat, requiring immediate neutralization. As security paused, as audience watched in collective, suspended breath, Michael did the unthinkable. He extended his hand toward the young man, not in defensive gesture, but in genuine invitation to connection. For a moment that stretched into seeming eternity for those witnessing this unplanned interaction, the young man stared at the offered hand with expression suggesting disbelief, as if outcome he had imagined while planning his disruptive approach had never included acceptance rather than rejection, welcome rather than removal. We'd love to hear your stories of unexpected human connections that cross social or cultural boundaries. Have you ever experienced a moment where compassion arrived from unexpected source? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. When a young man finally moved, when he finally accepted the extended hand with tentative gesture suggesting genuine shock at reception, so different from expected security intervention, Michael drew him slightly closer. Not embrace, but acknowledgement of shared humanity beyond conventional barriers of celebrity and anonymity, of performer and audience, of protected and intruder. For perhaps 15 seconds, brief span in chronological time, but eternity in emotional impact, they simply stood together, Michael maintaining physical contact through handclasp that transformed potential threat into human exchange. The audience, recovering from initial alarm, began applauding, not the automatic appreciation of planned performance element, but genuine recognition of unexpected human moment transcending entertainment to touch something more fundamental about compassion, about seeing beyond surface disruption to underlying human need for connection. Security personnel maintained their positions nearby, professional training visibly conflicting with recognition that their client had made decision contrary to standard protocol, yet aligned with the particular sensitivity to human vulnerability that characterized his personal interactions outside performance contexts. What no external observer could know, what would only emerge through later interviews with concert staff who overheard subsequent conversation, was what Michael said during those brief moments of connection. Words spoken quietly beneath the music's continued accompaniment, beneath the audience's renewed vocal appreciation. "Are you okay?" he asked, question containing no resentment for disruption or fear of potential threat, but genuine concern for fellow human being whose desperation for connection had driven him to such extreme action. "What do you need?" The young man's response, later reported by Korean translator who assisted during his brief detainment by security following the incident, revealed context beyond simple celebrity obsession that might have been assumed. "I just needed to tell you," he said, his English halting but determination evident in intensity of delivery. "Your music saved me when nothing else could. After my brother died, when I wanted to die too, your songs gave me reason to continue." The communication contained no threat, no delusional belief in special relationship, but simple need to express direct gratitude for artistic impact that transcended entertainment to provide genuine life support during a period of profound personal crisis. Michael's reaction to this disclosure, observed by nearest security personnel and stage technicians, though inaudible beneath music's continued performance, revealed genuine emotional response beneath the professional mask. Brief but visible shift in expression suggesting recognition of responsibility accompanying artistic impact so profound it literally preserved life during its darkest moments. He maintained physical connection through continued hand clasp, head nodding slightly to acknowledge communication received and understood beyond its verbal content. beyond the limited English in which it was expressed. When he finally spoke again, his words carried weight beyond their simple construction. "Thank you for telling me," he said, the statement acknowledging value in communication itself rather than dismissing disruption that had enabled it. "Your life matters. Please take care of yourself." The exchange, lasting perhaps 30 seconds total, contained none of the expected elements of security intervention, but rather genuine human recognition across barriers that typically separated celebrity from those affected by their work, artist from audience, protected from intruder. As the song approached its conclusion, as performance requirements necessitated transition back to planned production elements, Michael finally signaled security with subtle gesture different from initial halting command, indication that they should now escort the young man from stage, but with dignity intact rather than punitive removal. The security team, adapting to unexpected protocol deviation with professional flexibility, approached without aggressive positioning, their manner suggesting guidance rather than detention as they moved the young man towards side stage area, where translation and identification could occur without disrupting continued performance. What witnesses would later describe as most remarkable aspect of the incident was Michael's seamless return to performance following this unplanned human interruption. Not compartmentalization, suggesting emotional disconnection, but rather integration of genuine human moment into artistic expression without diminishing either. The song's final sequences carried additional emotional weight, the planned choreography executed with technical precision while somehow incorporating emotional resonance from unexpected human exchange. Those closest to the stage noted subtle but perceptible differences in his delivery. Not compromise of professional standards, but enhancement of artistic expression through genuine human connection that had momentarily transcended barriers between performance and authentic exchange. Backstage, as security debriefed the young man through translator, as police were consulted regarding potential charges for the significant breach of concert protocols, unexpected intervention arrived from Michael's personal management. Rather than pressing charges or demanding punitive response, specific instruction came directly from artist himself. The young man would receive formal warning about dangerous and disruptive nature of his actions, but would face no legal consequences provided he understood that such approach created safety risks extending beyond himself, the performer, to other audience members, to security personnel responding to perceived threat. More surprisingly, Michael requested brief meeting following the concert's conclusion. Not extended interaction suggesting special relationship, but simple human acknowledgement beyond the chaotic circumstances of their initial connection. This unprecedented request, contrary to typical security protocols following stage intrusion, created momentary confusion among protection team, whose training emphasized maintaining absolute separation between client and any individual demonstrating boundary violations regardless of apparent motivation. The meeting, conducted with appropriate security presence and translation assistance, lasted approximately 5 minutes. Nothing approaching friendship or ongoing connection, but genuine human acknowledgement of impact revealed during their brief stage interaction. According to translator present, Michael expressed appreciation for the young man's communication while gently emphasizing healthier channels for expressing gratitude, safer methods for processing the profound impact artistic expression can have during life's most challenging moments. He presented small gift, autograph program, and photograph, modest tokens by celebrity standards, but containing personalized message about finding strength through difficult times, about honoring his deceased brother by living fully rather than surrendering to grief's darkest impulses. The young man, initially detained with expectation of significant legal consequences, emerged from security area visibly transformed. Not by receiving celebrity attention, but by experiencing human recognition beyond the disruption his desperate approach had created. "He saw me," he repeated through translator to staff who escorted him from venue. "Not just what I did wrong, but why I needed to reach him. He actually saw me." The distinction contained profound recognition of difference between attention and genuine acknowledgement, between celebrity interaction and human connection that transcends status differential to recognize shared emotional experience. In subsequent tour stops, security protocols were reviewed and enhanced to prevent similar breaches. Physical barriers reinforced, personnel positioning adjusted to eliminate gaps during shift transitions. Yet those who witnessed Michael's response to potential threat transformed into human connection noted subtle but significant shift in overall approach. Not compromise of necessary protection, but enhanced awareness of distinguishing between genuine security concerns and human expressions of connection, however inappropriately manifested, that required different response than standard intervention. If this story has touched you, if it has offered glimpse beyond celebrity mythology to genuine human compassion that sometimes emerges in unexpected circumstances, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who might appreciate this reminder that beneath the elaborate productions and carefully maintained public images exist human beings capable of recognizing authentic need even when it arrives through inappropriate channels, of responding to desperation with dignity rather than fear or judgment. And remember that sometimes our most meaningful human connections occur precisely when planned boundaries are temporarily suspended, when protected spaces yield briefly to authentic exchange across divides that typically separate us from genuine recognition of our shared vulnerability, our common need for acknowledgement beyond social categories or status differences. Years later, in interviews with Korean media commemorating the anniversary of Michael's performances in their country, the young man, now mature adult working as music teacher for disadvantaged youth, would reflect on the incident that could have resulted in criminal record, but instead became a pivotal moment in his personal development. "I don't recommend anyone do what I did," he emphasized repeatedly, understanding the dangerous precedent his actions might suggest to others seeking connection with public figures. It was wrong to intrude on his performance, to bypass security, to disrupt something he had worked so hard to create for everyone present. But his response, seeing the hurting human being beneath the inappropriate action, taught me more about genuine compassion than any other experience in my life. Now I try to bring that same recognition to my students, seeing their individual struggles beneath behavioral issues, understanding emotional needs driving disruptive actions. He showed me that real strength isn't about maintaining barriers, but about recognizing when human connection matters more than protocols. The Seoul incident, though documented in various entertainment publications at the time, never achieved the viral status that similar disruptions have received in contemporary social media environment. The footage exists in fan recordings and official archives, but never became a defining moment in understanding Michael Jackson's complex public persona. Perhaps this relative obscurity represents its most authentic quality. Genuine human moment, not performed for public consumption or brand enhancement, but simple recognition across artificial boundaries. Compassionate response emerging naturally rather than calculated for maximum reputational benefit. In a world increasingly defined by performative gestures captured for social validation, such genuine human exchanges, unplanned, unscripted, emerging from authentic recognition rather than strategic consideration, offer a rare glimpse of connection that transcends both celebrity mythology and cynical assumption that kindness only exists when leveraged for public appreciation rather than offered as natural response to recognized human need.